I want to try something a little bit different with resin today. Instead of pouring one mixture into this mould, I'm going to combine 3 completely different products in my resin and then put them in together to see what happens when they meet inside this mould. This is a little vase mould. It's a really cute little mould, and I will link everything that I use in the description below. So all you need to do is look under the video, click more, open it, and then it'll open up the description. I genuinely have no idea what the final pattern is going to look like, but I have a feeling this could produce something that's really interesting. So I'm using marble powder, slate powder, and some gold mica. But first, before I do that, I need to find out how much resin is going to be in this mould, because it doesn't tell me on the actual mould itself. So all I'm going to do is fill it with water, then pour that water into a jug. And I will pour this probably everywhere. Look at that, I've already done that. So I'm going to fill that up while it's still in the jug rather than outside of the jug. God, I'll tell you what, there's not very deep bit there for the bottom of the mould, but anyway, it's going to work. Now all I need to do is let this water out into here, and that'll tell me how much I need. Mark where that water comes up to. And that's telling me I need 460 ml, which is quite a bit of resin, but the resin I will use is a good medium pour resin, so I'm not going to worry too much about flash curing. Any deeper than that, I would have probably gone to a deep pour resin, but I don't think the same effect that I'm looking for is going to work with a deep pour resin. The other important thing is make sure you dry your mould completely before you pour any resin into it. So the resin I'm going to be using for this is the Crystal Clear by Tea Expert, and the reason is I know this works as a really good medium pour resin. Now if it's really hot in your room and you pour it really deep, then you could get a flash cure, but if you monitor it really well, then that shouldn't happen. I also want it to be as bubble free as possible to start with, so I'm going to warm this up first. I need 200 mils of each A and B. Nearly knocked that over, did you see? I am so clumsy. Then I'm going to put my little caps on, and I'll link these in the description. These are designed for tins, but actually I'll use them for this. I stole them from my kitchen. I do get in trouble, but there we go. I'm going to pop this into the water in my resin warmer and leave that in there for about 10 minutes. Now you might think, well, that's a bit extravagant, but actually this is cheaper to buy one of these than it is to buy a decent bottle warmer that you'd use for a baby. It's got a good timer on it, a good temperature on it, and you can put, it's tall, so you can put your bottles in there as well, but I would like to heat up the resin I'm using rather than the resin that I'm going to be using in the future. So I don't want to keep heating up a full bottle every time, and that is why I put these tops on. You wouldn't want to put an open cup in there because the evaporation of the water and the condensation in here will drip into your resin, and that can ruin your resin. So it's a great little tool. I use it now for every resin because a lot of problems people have with their resin not curing properly or curing cloudy or curing with lots of bubbles in is because they don't remember or don't realize how important it is to make sure that your resin, before you use it and mix it, is at a good temperature, and it should be slightly above room temperature, so on average about between 30 and 35 degrees. So that was centigrade. I'll put that in Fahrenheit on the screen in a second. Once that gets to temperature, I'll leave that for about 10 minutes, and then that should be perfectly fine. I would definitely recommend one of these. I did a video on how to get rid of bubbles. I've got 4 different methods in there. One that costs nothing, one that you warm the resin up, so you could use a water bath for that, and then moving progressively into different things. So it's worth checking that out, and I'll link that video at the end of this one. Great for you beginners and for anybody that has trouble with bubbles in resin. Well, that's had enough time now. That should have warmed that through nicely. Gonna take mine out. Before I go to mix this up, I'm gonna dry my pots because I don't want to make sure I get any contamination in it. Take my lids off by peeling them away. Oh yeah, that's much better consistency. Never use cold resin. It's not good. It's not going to give you a good cure, and also it's going to have lots of bubbles in it when you mix it. Warmer resin is without a doubt the way to go. Get all that out. Peel the lids away from you like that. Make sure we've got all that out. Now, there's quite a lot of resin there, so I want to make sure that's mixed up well. What I'm going to do is put that in my mixer, and you can mix 2 lots up at once here. The charge on this lasts for ages, and now I'm just going to mix that for 4 minutes. This is a godsend as well. I waited years for them to bring out a one that was hands free. I have to say, because I used to use the electric hand mixers, but you always had to hold them. But well, this one you can just leave it and walk away. Well, that's had its time now, so all I need to do is turn that off, lift that up, and let that resin run off that paddle. Now, these are silicone paddles, so they're easy to clean, but don't leave your resin on them to cure and then peel it off. Clean it off straight away using a baby wipe or something similar, because it will make them last so much longer. And it's so much easier to clean them. And you can see in there, you see there is a few bubbles, but it hasn't mixed many bubbles in it because the resin was warm, and this mixer, with the design of the paddles, it doesn't mix lots of bubbles into it. It does take all the hard work out of it, especially if you've got arthritis or tender wrists and fingers and things. There we go, and we're all ready to go for next time. Now, what I want to do is I want to mix my colours up, but I want to have less gold in it than any of the other colours. I want the gold to be more of an accent colour. Pour that out into the 2 cups and then pour some of that into each one of these, and that's going to be my gold, and that's evenly poured out. You can tell I'm pouring resin. My air purifier has just come on as well. That's another thing I wouldn't be without. I can't wait to see what this is going to come out like. Oh, I'll have to get some more gold mica powder. I'm sure I've got some somewhere. Now, mixing mica powder and any powders into your resin is going to create bubbles again. I want to give that a really good mix in. Now, I have no idea what colour the slate powder is going to go in here. It might go darker. The slate powder and the marble powder are going to be heavier than the mica powder. Yeah, that has got a nice dark colour. A bit more in than that. And then the marble powder as well. Now, be careful when using marble powder or any of these powders. You don't want to be breathing these in, so do it while you've got your mask on. I'm going to let them sit for 5 minutes, because you can see all the bubbles that have come up to the top now. Oh, I like that. Because you've mixed in a powder that has got a heavy amount of air trapped in it. So what I'm going to do is burst those bubbles off the top before I do anything else. And the same for the marble powder. And now what I'm going to do is a dirty pour. And all I'm doing here is layering the colours in the cup, starting with the slate, then the gold, and then the marble. Because the marble and the slate are heavier than the gold, I'm hoping the slate will stay at the bottom and the marble will go through the actual gold into that slate. Gold is going to dominate this, and that's why I didn't have too much in. But the heavier colours are going to sink down more, taking some of those colours with it, I hope. Who knows? That's what the plan is. And then you'll get a gradient effect going from a dark with some gold and white in all the way to gold at the end. And as I'm filling the cup, I'm repeating that pattern until I'm out of resin and it's all in the cup ready to pour. Like I said, I have no idea if this is going to work out. It could just turn into a big pile of splodge. So now I've got my mould. What I'm going to do is slowly pour this dirty pour over the top. Some of the little tiny lumps of the slate powder and of the marble powder should stay solid. And you can already see the colours moving around in that. And this is the part that I'm actually really curious about, because I have no idea how these powders are going to react. They could just come out all solid gold, or they may give a lovely streak effect or a marble effect. That's already looking quite different to what I expected. I can't wait for this to cure. And let's see if any of these colours actually stay separated. Now, because I used quite a lot of powder in that, I am going to monitor this and burst off any bubbles that come to the top. Do a bit of squidgy widgy around here. Bit of tappy wappy. And then burn off the bubbles again. And now we'll leave it to cure. But this is all lovely and cured now. And this is the moment I've been waiting for. I have to be honest, I did knock this and spill some out of here, so I had to mix up a little bit of resin and top it up. So let's take it out of the mould and see whether this pouring technique has actually created the effect I was hoping for. I don't know if it has. And what I find fascinating about this technique is you can never really predict what the final result is going to be. But the only thing I don't like about this mould is you do have to fill it right up to be able to get the full effect with it, because this bit is slightly too high. That needs to be lower by about 4 or 5 mil. And it still works, there's still a bottom in it, but it's quite a thin bottom. I absolutely love that. Now, that's not created the marble effect, I thought, but the marble has sunk down into here, the heavier pigments, so the slate has sunk down a little bit further, the marble, and then the gold has got the streaks running through it. I don't know if the camera's picking up. I think that's absolutely beautiful, and I'll definitely be using that technique again. You can't get that type of technique with the ombre effect, I suppose that is, with just using mica powders. You do need something that is slightly heavier, so that's why the powdered marble and the powdered slate have worked so well. It's quite retro looking to me. That looks like something from the 60s or 70s, which is very on trend at the moment. I do like the mould though, and you've got to remember every pour is going to create something slightly different. Oh, I'm really pleased with that. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you agree with me, that is very retro looking. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on that and the technique. Be sure to check out the video I've got coming up next. I think you'll really like that as well. If you want to learn more about putting different things in resin and getting great results, boot that like button, hit that subscribe button, but most of all, enjoy your resin. Take care. Bye.